always just that active when defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active when defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on, Ian. People deluded, I'm back again. It feels like I haven't seen and been with you lot and discussed football for God knows how long. It's only been like 48 hours. Technically a lie because I have posted content, but nonetheless, people, you know, happy to be back here with you lot. Season's greetings, happy belated Xmas to you lot, and obviously happy New Year in advance. Hope you lot have enjoyed your time and things. Appreciative to all of you lot are tuned in today. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, appreciative. Make sure you're cross-following. Make sure you're smashing the like button, and obviously, you know, joining the discussions. We're gonna go over all this athletic stuff, and yeah, man, big up you lot, man. Please make sure if you're on YouTube, you're smashing the like button, you're subscribing. 2024, we need to get this algorithm going, and I have to do it on my own, but I can't do it alone, people. So yeah, big up you lot. American Gunner, I hope you're doing well and safe. I'm good, man. Feeling a bit fat. Had to go gym today. Feeling a bit fat after the season's, you know, eating food and whatnot, and did overindulge, I must say, with, you know, the alcohol and, you know, you get me. But yeah, back to normal service resumes. We will be watching Chelsea Crystal Palace later today, people, and also tomorrow, as you already know, you're pretty sure you've seen in the comments, we're going to be watching Arsenal versus West Ham. So yeah, man, what you said, DG, they tried to count us out. Ramesh opening his bank account. I'm not gonna lie, from his crying when he scored, for agenda purposes, he's not gonna make it, man. You don't need to get your money back, man. Inner circle and K appreciative. We got the gang back together. Hope you are well, DG. De Ligt would be a quality addition. Is it a loan or permanent? What kind of fee is being quoted? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. We're gonna have to read the article. I just saw the article. I was like, yeah, we can go live today. We've got some content to go over. I can't imagine De Ligt is feasible in January. Now, you know, I'd love to be proven wrong. I don't know what Arsenal have financially. I don't know his willingness to move away from Bayern Munich. But you would imagine where you hear those big ticket items or big money names, we're not getting them in January. You know, probably some players would have to go. I'm not against De Ligt signing for the football club. I mean, he can play centre half, can actually play in midfield. He's, you know, he's come through the Dutch system. You know, if there's any team in the world or a country in the world that isn't, you know, how we do things in England or specifically at Arsenal, the way the Dutch look at football historically, that aligns with us. You could also say that with the Spanish. I did think first thing is, ooh, you got Saliba there now, 3 great centre halves. You know, Gabriel Saliba, something would have to give, or someone's game time would be slightly alternated. But you never know what could happen, man. Arteta could go 3 at the back. There's plenty of game time, really. And I do believe generally Arsenal, we need to start finding these, like people like Ake at City. They bought him from Bournemouth. Weren't too much noise being said about him, but he's a reliable player. He's utilised in the squad, can play centre-half as well as at left-back. We need a squad. We need a strong squad. I think football has moved away from a strong 11. Of course, there are players that are going to play week in, week out, or a core of players, but it's not feasible. We've seen suspensions now with Havertz. You know, you lot have seen in the middle of the park injuries. We've been coping with a wide range of injuries and changing dynamics and purple patches of form and illness and everything since the start of the season. You know, just off the top of my head, Gabriel Jesus, Eddie Nketiah, Jorginho, Emil Smith-Rowe, Thomas Partey, Kai Havertz on the base of being suspended. I'm sure Benjamin White and Saliba have been carrying knocks. I've probably missed out a couple as well. Fabio Vieira. You know, we need a squad really and truly. I can't underestimate how vital that is, especially if we want to compete in 4 trophies. Obviously, for this season, on paper, on the 27th of December, it is 3 tournaments, man. So yeah, big up you lot tuned in. Praying for your liver, DG Henny at 9 a.m. is crazy. Oh, you're on my snap. It's Christmas, man. I am built for this. I'm built for this, man. Phil Mitchell lifestyle, man. So yeah, man, it is what it is, and kind of going through some domestics and that. So, you know, I was kind of, you know, like I said, it's been a Phil Mitchell thing. I hope Smith Rowe gets a start against West Ham. I would love that. I would love it. I want Smith Rowe to start. You know, I'm head of the Emil Smith Rowe fan club when it comes to that. Obviously, there's an opportunity here for you to get some games, but I think it will be Jorginho, Declan Rice, and Odegaard, really, if I'm honest with you. Just because I think Jorginho is the next in the pecking order. But I would like Smith Rowe. I think Odegaard would have to drop into the 8. Smith Rowe plays a 10. Obviously, he can play in the 8 and Declan Rice. But, you know, if Jorginho plays, obviously, we're going to be big up Jorginho on that, but you'd imagine we'd be very susceptible on the counter-attack. You know, West Ham are more than a counter-attacking club, but they've scored a bunch of goals against the run of play. Obviously, Bowen, Kudus, these guys are scary on the transition. Spare a thought and prayers for Zinchenko. And obviously, they've got a dynamic midfield. So we're in that scenario now. El Nene, another one that's been carrying a lot. We're in that scenario where we're kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't. If we can control the game at the Emirates, that's where Jorginho is in his best. But a bit like Chelsea away, when you've got Zinchenko and Jorginho, you kind of sign up to be a bit susceptible. I'm not calling them passengers. That's disrespectful, but I genuinely think they're passengers in the middle of the park, especially in the Premier League where it's high intensity. If you go with Emil Smith Rowe, reality is you don't know if he's got 90 minutes in him. We don't know his fitness and all of that sort of stuff. So I think we're damned if we do, damned if we don't, really. But I would like to see Smith Rowe get a start. But, you know, Jorginho, an experienced player. We need you. Time to stand up, to be counted. Smash the like button. Who would you play to replace Havertz, Trossard, Jorginho, or Smith Rowe? Kind of answered that, but you could say I'm not really a fan of Trossard in that 8 role. But then again, that is another thing Arteta could do, which big up yourself, Kay. I did not think of that. You know, Odegaard could drop into the deeper role, which he kind of does in the games. Trossard's in the 10. Obviously, we don't have the strongest of benches, but you get the point, man. Someone's got the heating on. It's my laptop moving brazy, man. I apologize. I don't know what's wrong with it, but we keep it going. Also, would you drop Martinelli? Because I'll be real, it hasn't been good for the last 3 to 4 games. I think that's harsh. I would say no, because who do you drop him out for? Yeah, you know, Trossard, fair enough, but Trossard's hardly covered himself in any blades of glory generally in the last kind of patch. I mean, yeah, you could move Jesus out wide and bring in Eddie Nketiah. I'm not really for that, if I'm completely honest with you. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But again, this is why we need a squad. And again, this is why I'm so passionate about Arsenal needing to bring in a midfielder or midfielders and why we need depth. I think, you know, you look at our team, I think we're playing a very dangerous game in the middle of the park. Personally, I don't think we have enough in the middle of the park to, you know, I don't even know what next month, January, is going to have, let alone the end of the season. We definitely need a defensive body or two. And I think everybody would love to see, obviously, a winger or a striker, but we can forget about it. Kyrgios left back, Zinchenko in midfield easy. That's another dynamic. I mean, Arteta is getting into that scenario where you ain't got much other options. That is something. But then again, there has to be a reason why Pep Guardiola, and currently in his Arsenal career, Zinchenko doesn't start per se in midfield. Obviously, he runs in there, but he doesn't necessarily start. You could go with Kyrgios at left back, and in theory, he's a stronger defender or a more defensive-minded player than Zinchenko 100%. But even Kyrgios, he's hardly covered himself in any blades of glory when he started at Luton, obviously when he started against PSV. And again, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I am quite worried about the transition, the middle of the park. Obviously, you know, Zinchenko in the League Cup, you saw what happened. I kind of accept players for what they are. I kind of accept the situation for what it is, in that we don't have enough depth. Injuries have been happening since August. Arsenal fans, we've seen this story. It kind of is what it is. And it's one of those games where we probably have to double down even more on our strengths than focus on West Ham's weaknesses. West Ham strengths, if I'm honest with you. You know, we're probably better on the ball than them. We need to make it count. If I'm West Ham, I fancy my chances against Arsenal, really. I think I watched the United game. I personally think West Ham were there for the taking from Man United in the first half. Second half, they came awake. You know, they play a high line. They've got very good players. Kudus is very good on the transition. He's very good at winning fouls, and he's obviously technically gifted. The same said for Bowen. They've got issues, man. Arteta too arrogant to admit Zinni is a bum. Bit harsh. We ain't signing Jack Ishmael. Hopefully not, my guy. Hopefully not. But on this moment in time, nobody seems imminent per se. Thoughts on Hato in January? Would love it. Would love the Dutch lad to sign for Arsenal. I don't know if it will happen because he's got a Euros to, you know, end of the day, bro. 17 years of age. You're starting for Ajax. You're captain in Ajax. You're getting in the national team squad. I'm not saying Arsenal will you know, mess this up, but at the same time, you're 17. How many 17-year-olds or teenagers are starting? You know, as much as I want him at Arsenal, you don't need to make that move yet. You're 17. Grow. You know, obviously Ajax is a big club. There's hell of expectation and whatnot, but the expectation and the pressure is very different at Ajax as Ten Hag probably sees now, to when you move to a Man United, or Arsenal, etc. And there's no rush. I do think in today's day and age, if you're a decent 16, 17, 18-year-old, you play good for 10 games, you need to go get your big move. You're developing, you're learning your craft. Minutes are currency. Every game you play, you're more experienced. Surely, if Arsenal come for you, I think his imagination will be aroused, and I think there's a mutual admiration. But maybe it's a case of just see out the season, really and truly. But I'm all for it, really. He's got scope to grow. He's clearly an intelligent player. We all know how, they teach them in Holland, the philosophies and how they look at football. He's an Arsenal player, a bit like Timber, man. Do you think Arsenal will get over the line in Jan? What are you talking about specifically, my dude, Luca? We need a bully striker in January like Sesko, since Tony is too much money. But how much is Sesko going to cost? Playing second fiddle over there in Germany, he ain't really starting week in, week out. But they probably knew this. Realistically, if you sign 2 strikers and one slightly younger and one had a really good season in the French league, you're going to give my man time to adapt. Now, if they sign him for 20 million, he stops falling, they think it ain't quite worked out and there's a deal to be done, fair enough. But they know he's very young. They know there's resale value. It probably don't make sense. But I would love Sesko at the club, man. What are you saying about this Hato guy? Is he good? I like him, but he's 17. So there's a lot that he needs to work on. Obviously, more so than anything, it's the pace of how things happen in the Premier League. He'd be joining mid-season, so he'd have to adapt off the field. He'd have to adapt of, playing for Arsenal, and everything you do is being scrutinised. Obviously, it's mid-season, so you kind of have to hit the ground running. But he'd be a good option. And at 17, obviously, if you're playing week in, week out for Ajax, the age isn't really a thing like that. But he wouldn't have to play week in, week out. And, again, he's young and he's impressionable. Obviously, he's young. There's probably some bad habits in his game. But likewise, he hasn't picked up a lot of bad habits because he hasn't had that career like that. So he's very impressionable. Arteta can mold him and all of that. I like him a lot. I'd love for him to end up at Arsenal. Do you think we get Tony in the backup centre-back? Ivan Toney, I don't see it. Now, just because I see it don't mean it can't happen. I just think, because of a mixture of FFP, priorities are elsewhere. I can't see us selling. I think it's a case of, looking after the spine. So as I was kind of saying, central midfield and obviously defense. If there is, if all the dominoes fall into place and there's an opportunity to get a striker, why not? Big up yourself, Pat. So, hey, DG, my Canadian fellow Jonathan David might have what we need, my G. I'm not really on that, man. And his stock's kind of falling. I'm not against it, but if you're coming to replace, if we're going to sell Eddie Nketiah for 40 million and you're going to sign him for slightly less and you're taking Eddie's place in the team, I'm for that. But I kind of want, if it's not going to be a striker that's evidently going to put pressure on Gabriel Jesus' role or be the top dog, then I think we should leave it alone, man. Timber changed Arteta's life. Now he can't stop looking at Ajax/Eredivisie. But hey, I hear that, man. I hear that. I would love Tony in the number 6 midfielder. I mean, if it was up to me between January and, the end of the summer window next year, better yet, I would say a number 8, a 6. I would like another Tomiyasu Timber kind of guy that can fill in those roles there, a winger and a striker, and just, obviously you probably need to look for a backup number 2 goalie now, owing to probably Ramsdale's departure in the summer. Hope I'm wrong there, but yeah. Apparently Uncle Partey is back for the West Ham game. Do you think we'll see him? I don't know, man. We've been hearing these rumors really and truly. If he is back, how fit is he? Is there going to be any setbacks? Is he fit enough to play 20, 60, 90 minutes? You'd imagine that, Partey's in no condition to get 90 minutes. And even if he's back, there might be a reluctance to blood him in. When he got this last injury, was he not recovering from a previous injury? And Arteta was kind of half-hearted in guysing him into the team. So I don't know, man. With Partey, I love the guy. I think he's a quality player. But even when you're fit, it's a ticking time bomb. And yeah, I have to say, I always say it, and I'll be fair to him, he was fit for 33 Premier League games last season, 40 in general last year. But with Partey, it's a thing where how fit are you going to be? The story's kind of the same in that, he's a quality player, gives us a new dynamic. We definitely could have utilised him in the squad, but you're fit for 4, 5, 6 games. We wake up one day, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but it feels like Partey don't get injured in the games. It's always, we've trained and he's picked up a knock in training or something's happened there. I don't know. Word I hear is Arteta has centre-back as his next priority, signing after Raya confirmed. I think we do need depth there. I would like centre-mid to be of slightly more importance to the defence, but get it done, man. Yes, DG, my guy. Do you think it's worth upgrading Eddie in January and then bringing in a world-class striker in the summer? I wouldn't sell Eddie Nketiah unless the striker's walking in January, and it'll be hard because, someone offers 40 million for Eddie Nketiah, but you want to get it signed off before they've even had time to consider the fact that they're getting ripped off. But I don't think it makes sense. Whatever people say about Eddie, he's shown he can have a role in this team. He's shown he can somewhat deputize for Gabriel Jesus. And I do think we need an option of just an out-and-out striker in the team just to tie us through until next season. Yeah, you can sit here and tell me Trossard, Martinelli, Havertz, probably missing the next one, could all go out there. But unless you're bringing in a striker, I'm not really for it. You know, there's it's an exaggeration, but there's a lot of players that are linked with moves away. You know, El Nene, I would let Cedric go, but El Nene, Cedric, Eddie Nketiah, Jorginho, Smith Rowe, Ramsdale, and you can see where I'm got Eddie Nketiah, and you can see where I'm going. By all means, half of the names I said, some of those players I like a lot more than others. Some of them I have an attachment to. But for me, it doesn't make sense letting people go in January if we're not bringing people in. And January, we're not going to let 5 players go, bring in the next 5. It's just not going to happen, man. Getting injured off the pitch as a sign is not the age his passport tells. You're a madman. You're a madman. I don't know for Partey, man. Is it something he's not doing or doing in terms of his rehab? Is it nutrition? Is it just coincidence? Is it something around training? Maybe it's everything, really and truly. I don't know, man. It felt like, I wouldn't say light at the end of the tunnel, but as I said, I have to say it again, he was fit for 40 games last season, 33 in the league. That is unheard of for Thomas Partey. I'm at the point now, I've seen enough at Arsenal to accept Partey for what he is. I don't think we're going to see a season where, God, please don't make Declan Rice get injured, but you're on this Declan Rice thing of you're just fit, really and truly. You're just a Spartan. I'm not sure, man. Would we improve our team the most? I think you said who would improve our team the most out of Leao and Osimhen, in your opinion? Osimhen, because he's an out-and-out striker. Leao would be lit on the wing in that, but Osimhen, because you're an out-and-out striker. I don't know if the exchange rate of scoring goals in the Italian league is going to convert properly into the Premier League. Obviously, Osimhen has got 14 injuries to date. But I would say that because, Leao would be a wonderful player. And if he could get goals, would be amazing. And I guess you could convert him to an out-and-out striker. But for me, Leao looks better out wide, like a wide forward. So I'd say Osimhen, because we need a striker. And he's got the proven pedigree of such, man. Do you know anything about the scout we have apparently signed? I read something about he found Vinicius Jr. and other mad ballers. Any truth? I think I covered that in a previous video. I don't know religiously, but as you said, when it comes to South America / Latin America, it seems like he's got his head screwed on, and Real Madrid have been making it happen. We need to be finding 1-2 of those players. We need to do what Real Madrid are doing in terms of finding the Endricks and getting all of these guys. Personally, I think we kind of need to tap into what City and not really the same, but Chelsea and that we need to get some affiliate clubs, because obviously we can talk about signing these players, but one thing that goes against them, especially with Brexit, and is probably more of a benefit to historically when the Ukrainian clubs are signing these South American players or the Portuguese clubs, is work permits, really. That's why we didn't get Valverde in that. So we probably need to get an affiliate club going, and we need to start tapping into those markets, really. Everybody sits here and says, oh, let's do what Brighton are doing and things like that. But fans won't have the patience. So let's scout like Brighton, find players like Brighton, and then, part them off, because half of the time, I'm not sure for Caicedo. I think Caicedo, when you look at Brighton, a couple of their players, Mitoma went out on loan, McAllister, I think, did a loan thing or something. There's a plan there, really. And we need to get into a scenario where, by all means, some of these players can be part of the first team, or if not, imagine we sign someone for 8 million, they stay here for a couple of years, they never get close to the first team, they're sold for 18, 28, 38. Reinvest that into players who can help us, and we keep it moving, really and truly. I think that's where we need to go, because the players that are going to make us top money at this club, no one wants to let them go. No one wants to sell. The day will come for Saliba to go to Real Madrid, but no one wants to sell Saliba, Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, anyone that's going to bring in significant fees. Big up DG. We need a striker badly, but let's see what the boss Arteta does. Hopefully he brings real Brazilians from the lit clubs. Oh, you're a madman. Do you think Mikel utilizes the Highlanders enough? I personally think he needs to do that more. I understand there's a risk associated with it, but there's a praise for it. I don't think Arteta is on the Arsene Wenger thing, if I'm honest with you, of just giving people opportunities and stuff like that. I would like to see him tap into it more, but I don't think I think there's some good players on the cusp, but I don't think there's a player that's banging on the door. But yeah, I do think Arteta is a bit stingy with utilizing Haaland and all of those sort of things, man. Arteta signing a centre-back in DM. He wants to play that Moyes ball. Gosh, man, I think we need those, if I'm honest. Death taxes, Arsenal sign a centre-back every window. We love it. Who do we sign in the summer, though? Well, I mean, technically, Timber can say that. DG, what happened to that Feyenoord striker we liked? Is he still cooking in the Dutch league? Jimenez seems like he's going all right, if I'm honest with you. And the problem with him, even he's going to allegedly cost a pretty penny, if I'm honest with you. So let's see what the news is saying, people. Big up you lot. Keep your conversations coming. Keep engaging, smashing the like button, turning on your notifications and subscribing. Obviously, tomorrow, shameless plug o'clock, we're watching Arsenal West Ham together. Later today, we're watching Chelsea Crystal Palace. Even if you're not going to be there, hit the like button. We need the algorithm to go crazy. Now, this is the article out of The Athletic, people, where it said Arsenal transfer window, defense and midfield needs bolstering, but loans more likely than buys. I mean, if it's the right loan, then fair enough. And, you know, the first thing a lot of you, including myself, would say is who is available on loan? Who is that's going to help us push the needle? Or if they're not going to be curtain raisers, ensuring that the floor stays at a certain grounding. Honestly, I don't know. But that's where this is your, obviously, you know, week in, week out, it's Premier League games. That's Mikel Arteta's season. Summer, Edu, January, Edu, this is yours. Make it work. And at the minute the window closed in the summer, I don't think Edu and Arteta, I think they could be happy with their business. You know, bringing in Declan Rice, probably in hindsight seeing Kai Havertz now. Obviously, unfortunate injury to Timber, bringing in Raya, but they knew in their hearts, and not even just them, everyone who's part of the wider team, they knew in their hearts the job isn't done. So when that summer window ended, we probably knew what we was working with in terms of FFP. Edu needed to keep working, which I hope he is. Apparently Arteta said we need players. Scrolling all the way down, as you know, our last 3 January spends. January of last year, we brought in Kyrgios, Jorginho, and Trossard. Cedric, Lokonga, and Marquinhos went on loan. We spent 60 million. In the January of 2022, we brought in Matt Turner and Trusty, but they was completed the following summer. Obviously, Ainsley, Kolasinac, Chambers and Aubameyang all departed the club. We spent 0. In January of 2021, obviously we got Matt Turner and Matt Ryan, and Odegaard on loan. So that tells you things are there to be done. How much money is likely to be available? After a huge summer of spending, including that record-breaking deal for Declan Rice, Arsenal are definitely operating under some restrictions. When they signed David Raya from Brentford towards the end of the summer window, they cited FFP regulations, insisting they could only take him on an initial loan. Raya deal effectively means Arsenal have a 27 million commitment to Brentford to fulfill, which must be taken into consideration when it comes to any further transfers. I'm not saying be optimistic or be pessimistic on Arsenal signing anyone, but I do think there's a lot, you know, some articles are more optimistic about Arsenal spending than others. Some are more pessimistic. Honestly, we don't know. Where there's a will, there's a way. Chelsea versus Palace would be interesting. West Ham's a tough game, but everything is, man. For example, we need a centre-back. Why not integrate Waters more? He clearly likes him as he played him in pre-season. I do think Waters is someone that could be banging on the door, if I'm honest. You know, he's a fullback. We need one. We need Timber back. I can't stand Zinni getting cooked every game. I don't think he gets cooked every game, but when we need you to just be a defender, you know, we've seen this already. We've seen this movie several times, really. And I agree. And I don't know how many times we have to. So as I said, you know, Zinni's a man that I want to see at the Emirates when, you know, there's huge amounts of possession. The sun is shining and we're playing great football. When it's time to be in the trenches, as you can see, Mr. Mo Salah, I probably want a Timber. I want somebody else there, really, because I don't think Zinni was terrible. But ultimately, you know, the one time we need you to be switched on, we've seen it before, really. And we've seen all the interviews from Zinchenko. I don't think anyone makes a mistake on purpose. But at the end of the day, at 26 years of age, Ukrainian international, played for City for however many games, top-level professional, you don't think like a defender. Like, you keep hearing me say this. I'm about accepting people for what they are, you know. I'm not saying to sell Zinchenko, but naturally, I think if you want to go in the path of someone like City, then you need to look at where they got Zinchenko. And I guess it could apply to Gabriel Jesus. They were key players. They were rotation options, but they were never the guys like that first names on the team sheet kind of thing. And I think we've got to learn because they're good players, but they evidently have limitations as to why they weren't where they were at City. Now, City, you know, half of the players that don't get games at City, they'll start in the Premier League, but you get the premise and the point. Scrolling all the way down and continuing this, Arsenal have been working hard to control their FFP situation. Their recent raft of contract extensions, for example, enables them to amortize I can't say that word, people. Players costs over longer periods. With revenues rising this season, Arsenal are likely to have some wiggle room. Obviously, Champions League money as well when it comes to FFP, but just how much remains to be seen. FFP also permits liquidity injections of 30 million per year by a club's owner. But KSE, obviously, Kroenke stuff, do not tend to operate in that manner. We all know it's a collective process. I won't bore you with that. What are the priority positions? At the moment, the top priority is the defense, with possible consideration given into midfield. I'm not going to lie. It does feel like it's either or. I feel like we love that as a club. Like, you even look back to when Thomas Partey was signing for the club. You know, we needed a 6 and an 8. But some fans, naturally, were more in the camp of an 8, more in the camp of a 6. And I'm sure there's some people saying, you know what? Like me, I think we need a defender the most. I mean, a midfielder the most. But some people might say defender. Some people might say winger and striker. And obviously, it's not all doable, but both, really and truly. Like both is needed, really and truly. If you want to make a sandwich, you need the sandwich filler and the bread. You don't sit here and say, I want cheese or I want bread. You need both to have the meal you want in it, or whatever, really. So I'm here for this, man. But anyways, it's worth noting at the moment, because January windows are by their nature quite reactive, a couple of injuries can change the priority very swiftly, which we've seen already at this club. You know, a few months ago, we were saying, and it was even further away from January, we were saying, you know what, a striker is what we need to get in January. Then it shifted to midfield. Now it still stayed with midfield, but it's kind of shifted to defense. Flirted with maybe bringing in another keeper, because obviously Ramsdale could cut, but I don't see that happening in January. I don't know. It could. I'm just a fan like you lot, but you get the point, man. We know that, people. Even a few weeks ago, there may have been a different answer to this question, with a central forward and wide forward both areas both under consideration. For now, however, the back four is where Arsenal's recruitment team are focusing. Arteta has already admitted that Arsenal are really short at the back. We all know Timber has sustained a massive injury. Apparently, his recovery is progressing well, but he is not expected back for some time yet. And there were some rumours he could be back in January. And the loss of Timber has been compounded by the injury to Tomiyasu. I mean, we love Tomiyasu, but with another one like Partey, we know you man get injured. Smith Rowe's up. This is what I mean. Accept Dons for what they are. We try and mitigate against it. But if Tomiyasu and Timber can't stay, no, if Tomiyasu and Partey can't stay fit, make sure there's players who are levels. That can be. If Zinchenko can't defend, bring someone who, when there's time to defend, we need to defend. If Jesus can't score goals, let's keep utilizing for what he is. But find a man that's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Accepting people and things for what it is. And we've seen this, you know, this one, I love Tomiyasu. I'm not hitting up the guy, and I'm upset because he looked a lot more confident, was getting regular football, improving in the final third. But I'm sure, you know, there's at least 10 pages on Google if you put Tomiyasu injury, like Thomas Partey injury. We've seen this and we'll see it again. I hope to be wrong, people. And again, he could be back fit in January, but as we know, Partey could be going off to AFCON with Ghana. The Asian Cup could see, well, it has got Japan. Tomiyasu, if it is going to go over there, really and truly. Thomas Partey has filled in at right back occasionally, but he too is injured and is scheduled to take part in the Africa Cup of Nations. His absence, plus relatively minor injuries to El Nene and Jorginho, has also put centre midfield in the spotlight. Should have been there way before. None of Partey, El Nene and Jorginho are considered long-term solutions in this area, and Arsenal know that at some point soon they'll need an alternative to Declan Rice. There is one other position to consider, goalkeeper. If Aaron Ramsdale were to leave in search of first-team football, that would also necessitate the signing of a backup to David Raya. So they're just putting in fancy ways what we already have been saying as football fans. Why do we not turn back to Tini? Because we've probably, you know, been paid the money for them to take him on loan. And if you're Kieran Tini, would you necessarily, it's not that, I want to pick my words wisely, but would you necessarily want to come back at this moment in time? You know, you're playing week in, week out at Sociedad, which I don't think Arsenal would have forced Tini out. I think he's a man that if there's permanent offers, they would have listened. But I think Arteta would have kept him for the squad, and I think us fans would have loved him either to start at Anfield or be utilised off the bench at several points this season. But as I said before, I think Tini went there to the gaffer and said, you know what, gaffer, I like being here, I like the team. But, you know, you're trying to make me an inverted fullback, which I'm not really. And I've seen Kirill, Tomiyasu, Timbers come in. Zini's playing ahead of me. I want to keep it moving. If you're Tini, what's the point coming back? You might play 4 or 5 games and then it's back to the same conundrum, innit, really and truly, if I'm honest. Tomiyasu and Partey are not reliable. They need to be moved on. I'm keeping Tomiyasu, to be fair. And I wouldn't be against Partey staying, but I think the summer will be the last time we see him. I think we need a minimum of 15 world-class players and some squad players. 15 world-class players, boy, unless you're Real Madrid, that's difficult to come by, really and truly, man, if I'm honest with you. I think Tommy would have started against Liverpool if he was fit. I'm starting to get frustrated with Tomiyasu's injury record. Been our best fullback this season for me. I know Zinni is to blame for Salah's goal, but let's be real. What other Liverpool forward would have finished that chance, really? And I agree with you. That's why I said it's not just Mo Salah. It's that pass from Trent. 9 times out of 10, that isn't going to happen. But that was the one time it's going to against a magical team like Liverpool. And on another day, it doesn't come to anything. If I'm honest, Salah had a lot to do. He's a quality player. It won't be the first or last time Mo Salah does something like that. But in that action of play, Zinchenko does not look like a defender at any point. I'm pretty sure the same could be said at Aston Villa. I'm pretty sure the same could be said at Brentford away, where he got away with it. Fulham at home, Liverpool last year, Chelsea, where he got hooked after 45 minutes. This is what I mean, accepting Zinchenko for what he is. I like him. He talks about all the time he wants to improve, but you're never going to be a strong 1v1 defender. In the same way, Tomiyasu has improved in the final third, but he's never going to be a Japanese Jordi Alba there. Like, we've seen these things before. Keep your talking points coming, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Arsenal must first consider the long-term implications of any January signing. In defence, Timber and Tomiyasu are both a big part of Arteta's plans, with the latter expected to agree a new contract. The club recognise the need for cover, but will be wary of upsetting the squad balance. We don't really have squad balance. A loan deal would be preferable, although finding someone who is both good enough and available on those terms is challenging. There are long-term defensive targets such as Dortmund's Nico Schollerbeck, who we tried to get. Arteta's coaching staff also admire Bayern Munich's Dutch international De Ligt. I admire Kelly Rowland. I don't see the fact that I've gone on a date with her. Well, it's a bit of a myth, ain't it? But the price point and contract situations of both players make them infeasible January deals. Arsenal are also interested in Ajax 17-year-old defender Jarell Hato. The teenager has been a rare bright spot in a troubled season for the Amsterdam club, wearing the captain's armband on occasion, and has already received his first cap for the Dutch senior team. Hato plays as a left-sided centre-back or left-back, so would complement Timber. Arsenal believe Ajax's game model is analogous to their own, hence Timber's swift adaptation. Hato would not come cheap, however, and Arsenal may decide they need someone more experienced to help in the running. A short-term loan signing remains the most likely option. The same can be said for midfield. Arsenal's previous interest in Aston Villa midfielder Douglas Luiz is well documented. They made 3 fruitless bids for the Brazilian on deadline day in September of 2022. Arsenal's highest offer then was 25 million. Whatever they wanted then, it can't be what they're asking for now. Unfortunately, Zinchenko is a defensive liability, which is why I'm on this case of, all right, cool, Zinchenko, I need you to improve defensively. I need you to man up a bit in that. But I accept you for what you have. If we're going to lose goals, because a bit like, obviously, Trent is way better than him. Liverpool, and I do think people do too much about Trent's defending, but Liverpool fans, Klopp, Trent's teammates, they know he's mediocre defensively. But they know once he's on the ball, he's world-class. Zinchenko is not world-class like that, but if you're doing that inverted stuff to a suitable level or to a serious level, fans sit there and go, you know what, you're shaky there, but we'll accept you. That's the problem with Zinchenko. I'm not really seeing that his first season, he was a revelation and he's still playing relatively well in that regards, but it's not really there. And the more we get better as a team, we're creating goals from other areas of the pitch and we sort out midfield. It's not that Zinchenko's inverted role becomes obsolete, but there's less reliance on specifically Zinchenko and the strengths he brings in that regards. So, yeah, we all know Douglas Luiz looks like a myth, people. We all know Luiz has signed a new deal, although he will have 18 months or so left, or 18 months to 2 years left on his deal in the summer. Who knows? We have also been linked with Zubiamendi. The same is true of long-term target Martin Zubiamendi. He's very loyal to Sociedad and may be reluctant to leave partway through a Champions League campaign, and that's before considering the cost, which you're going to have to activate his release clause. Arsenal would look at a loan if an appropriate midfield candidate became available, but a marquee midfielder is unlikely. Arsenal remain interested in injured Wolves winger Pedro Neto, with manager Gary O'Neill recently describing the 23-year-old as very close to return. While a wide forward is on Arsenal's midterm to-do list, it has been overtaken by more immediate priorities for January. The same could arguably be said of a centre forward. Arsenal hope to recruit a new striker in 2024, although that is more likely to be on the summer's agenda. While the club has been linked with a move for Brentford's Ivan Toney, there have been no significant developments on that front as of yet. Who could be on their way out? Obviously, Aaron Ramsdale could leave, but we're going to need you to play at least a game Ironically, you got another game in the Premier League against Brentford. We're going to need that. Apparently, Ramsdale has admirers in England and abroad, including Newcastle, who have lost Nick Pope to a shoulder injury. A loan move would grant Ramsdale an opportunity to play regular football and keep his place in the England squad. Arsenal are reluctant to sanction such a deal, however, and would like to keep hold of Ramsdale for the second half of the season. If a club made a substantial offer to sign Ramsdale permanently or with a compelling option or obligation included as part of a loan, that could change things. Anything could change. But even for Ramsdale, that is the first thing I'd say is interesting in abroad. Who from abroad is interested in Ramsdale? Because I would like to flog you there. You've been linked with Chelsea, right? Assuming he signs for Chelsea between now and the summer, you'd have yourself, Kepa, and Sanchez. I'm not in on who's better and whatnot, but 3 starting number ones, internationals. It's a bit clouded there. Obviously, Arsenal, you've got Raya. You go to Newcastle. That's great. Pope is fit. What happens there? It's kind of the same thing, really. So maybe he needs to take a step back, with all due respect to Aston Villa and Emi Martinez, but go to one of them clubs, solidify yourself. And even Emi Martinez, Aston Villa, respectfully, you're doing great under Unai Emery. Wish you held on to the lead at Old Trafford yesterday. But it makes sense, in my opinion, for Ramsdale to take a step back and to make another step forward. I do think he'll end up back at a top 6 club, if that makes sense, people. Kyrgios has admirers in Italy, but it's hard to imagine Arsenal sanctioning a move at a time when they're so light in defence. Even Cedric, who is on the very fringes of the squad, may be required to stick around. There's some interest in the fullback from Villarreal, but Arsenal may determine he is needed as cover, at least until they have some new faces through the door. The Saudi Pro League are likely to be in for significant players in the market again during this window. They have a long-term interest in Gabriel, but it would take something extraordinary for Arsenal to contemplate allowing such an important player to leave. Arteta did say after the win against Brighton, I want him here. So that's where that's concerned. Apparently, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Newcastle target open to January move. Sesko is second fiddle to Openda at Leipzig. The towering 20-year-old is interested in a Premier League move in January. Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man United are all long-term admirers, people. As you know, he joined Leipzig from Salzburg last summer, but has been playing second fiddle. He's only started 3 Bundesliga games from a potential 16 and has been, subject to short cameos. On the interest from Premier League sides in Sesko, most notably from United, who tried to get him in the summer, Arsenal and Chelsea, while Newcastle have also kept a close eye on the Slovenian's development. Intermediaries had previously made it known Sesko could be available to move in January, with more playing time firmly on the agenda as he prepares to lead the line at the Euro 2024. I mean, can we do a Raya sort of deal there? 90-minute understands nothing has changed in that regard, and all interested Prem clubs have again been informed of the potential of agreeing a deal, along with an obligation to buy should certain criteria be met, has been suggested. And Sesko's game is one many top scouts feel is suited to the top English level. They paid 20 million for him last summer and would rather keep him at the club as they bid to join Leipzig in attempting to dethrone Bayern Munich. But the opportunity to cash in on Sesko and potential double their money is something that would not be dismissed out of hand. So we'll have to see, really and truly. But it just appears once again that we've got other priorities. We've been linked with Juventus's, Federico Chiesa, which I've got a firm admiration for the player. Cannot see us spending 80 million euros on him in January or in the summer in that real regards. I mean, with the Vlahovic and Locatellis and all them guys, I'm very pessimistic on anything that comes out of Italy with Arsenal signing. But he would address an area in the squad that's needed. Speaking of Juventus, apparently watch Arsenal transfer target Kenan Yildiz score wonder goal for Juventus as Arsenal prepare January move. He scored in a 2-1 victory against Forestone, people, and he just signed from Bayern Munich. I mean, he's linked with Arsenal a lot and he's linked with other clubs, so there's got to be something with him angling for a move away. They can have Partey, though, just deposit 45 million. Be interested to see which or if any big players move to Saudi. I mean, they're always going to do that, man. I have to rate Cedric. He's still in the cup. DG, I don't know why your name is Deluded. You're very sensible and smart. I appreciate that, man. But we're here, innit, really? Ramsdale starts at Chelsea all day for me. He might, but it's not clear. That's my point. Like, you're going to leave Arsenal where you got Raya, then you're going to have Sanchez, Kepa, and yourself at a point. It's not clear. And you got to remember, sometimes it's not about ability. It might not be it may have nothing to do with ability. Let's just say Pochettino, obviously he's, the South American kind of thing. He might not give a crap about what Ramsdale's good at. He might just say, Kepa is my guy, Sanchez is my guy, in line with this playing out from the back stuff and being good with your feet. He might say that them men are better. You know, football's a funny old game of opinions. Whether you play Sunday League or Premier League, you know, you could be the best talented player in your position in that team. I know it because it used to happen to me at Wolf and Abbey where my teammates would like, yeah, and next man's playing ahead of you, you know. It's as simple as that. If we get through final in January, we win the Premier League, it's that simple. I'm a bit wary of football being that simple, my friend, but I hear it. I'm here for it. Signing Chiesa would be groundbreaking for us. Alexis vibes. But yeah, the Saudi moves are not going anywhere. And to be fair, if I was a footballer, if I'm getting into my 30s and I've achieved, bro, I know money isn't everything, but me, I'm going over there. I don't know if any of you lot have seen this, but apparently Crystal Palace's head of sports medicine, Zafar Iqbal, forgive me for any mispronunciations, is to join Arsenal, people. We have covered that, so I won't bore you with that. Apparently, Jarell Hatto said in an interview in October, the move to Arsenal for Timber was a wonderful one for him. It's also my dream to one day make such a transfer, but I realize I still have a very long way to go. Now, does he mean transfer to Arsenal or make a big move in terms of career development? Who knows exactly? Allegedly, we're best positioned to sign another centre-back, people. The Sporting Lisbon defender Gonzalo Inacio has still been linked with us. Apparently, he's got a 50-odd million pound release clause, 52 million, 60 million euros. Who's seeing that in January? I think that's because, you know, we probably need depth and he would be a strong option. And we have seen him play firsthand against us. And he is on the relatively young side. But we ain't spending no 50 million or no centre-back, in my opinion, in January. I could be wrong. What do I know? Apparently, Sporting striker Victor Gyökeres, who's been in outstanding form, rightly so, has been speaking about interest from other clubs. He's been linked with a move back to England after leaving Coventry not too long ago. I think it's a bit like when Sporting came in to sign me. I'm very happy here. Don't care about any interested parties at the moment. I'm enjoying every day here, not thinking about what's going on around me. Yes, there's talk of big clubs, but for now, it's just news. That's all. This is where I want to stay. And if it's just news and there's nothing feasible, what more can a man say, really and truly? Arsenal apparently are in the strongest position to sign the Sporting Gonzalo Inacio, people. Goncalo, again, forgive me for mispronunciations. Arthur Vermeeren, apparently Tottenham have the edge over Arsenal in the race for the Royal Antwerp man. I've been singing your praises. You signed for Spurs, you're not good. There's a reason Spurs had a free run at you and you're linked with Barcelona. I've got the drafts ready. Apparently Spurs are ready to part with 25 million to sign him, really. And the language you get coming out of Arsenal is you're not really trying to spend them kind of fees, really, in January. I don't know, people. So I'd have to see. Apparently, Arsenal reportedly could make an opening bid of 30 million for the Wonder Kid in January, but Antwerp won at least 25, which Spurs could meet. The Belgian club are prepared to keep him until the summer if his asking price is not met. And Spurs deciding to meet and loan him back to them would be more appealing. Even for Spurs, you're quite light on midfield. It don't make sense. We've also been linked with a winger called Salah. I mean, the last Salah that was bought for a Premier League team, he did all right, innit? We saw in our last game. Arsenal will be interested in the profile of Ibrahim Salah, a winger for Rennes and Morocco. I haven't been moved by him, if I'm honest. I've seen him play. I haven't been moved, but that don't mean he's not a good player. I just ain't caught my eye like that. According to our sources, Arsenal reps even scouted the 22-year-old during a recent appearance for the French club. Now, if we know that we're looking for wingers, then we're going to be looking at wingers. Scouting don't mean I'm going to sign him, man. It might. I didn't rate him. Now I've watched him a lot. Now I think we should. We think he's good. Now we're scouting him. There's something we don't like. We don't know, but that just tells me people are doing their jobs, really and truly. Romano on Osimhen said, the expectation is for Victor Osimhen to have very good chances to leave Napoli in 2024, not in January, to leave in the summer. The new deal will include a release clause in the region of 130 to 140 million. The interest from Chelsea and Arsenal remains, which is music to a lot of our ears, people. Let's just get rid of some tabs, people. It's getting a bit ugly, ain't it? Really and truly. Don't forget, people. We're dead there again. Chelsea, Crystal Palace, watch along later in a couple of hours. And tomorrow, we need to get back to being 3-point collectors. I want revenge on West Ham. They're still salty about the Declan Rice stuff, man. It happens. So, yeah, we all know Pedro Neto remains on our wish list, allegedly. We all know the priority apparently is for Arsenal to sign a centre-back in January. That's what they're looking for. Any money they have is probably primarily going to go towards that. And then they'll think about bringing in an extra midfielder, possibly on loan. Who that midfielder would be, you lot let me know when you find out, people. Arsenal can sign very own Luis Suarez. Santiago Jimenez is the latest player to be linked with a January move to Arsenal. We know we're not getting him. It'll cost 60 million. Summer settings, people. Apparently, he got 31 Eredivisie goals in 2023, which is eclipsing Luis Suarez's calendar year record of 30 with Ajax back in 09, people. And Ruud Gullit said he should sign for Arsenal. I mean, when Gullit speaks, you want to listen. I like the Mexican international a lot. I'm not saying this in the know is right or wrong, just bringing you in for allegedly. Partey is very close to making his Arsenal return, potential to be on the bench versus West Ham tomorrow night. Tomiyasu is also close to return, expected to return against Liverpool in the FA Cup. No decision on if they travel to AFCON yet. Apparently, Partey narrowly missed the trip to Anfield after failing to be fit in time. Club deemed too big of a risk. Again, don't know if any of this is right, but there you have it, people. So yeah, let's keep it moving. We've already gone over that. Arteta on January plans. We have certain targets and ideas. We don't know how the squad is going to look in 2 weeks' time. It's a very tricky market that shifts quite quickly. I don't think anyone will disagree there. Have we missed anything here? Doesn't seem like there's anything there. But Smith Rowe, we'd love for you to start, really. David Raya's had been speaking. Where's Mikel Arteta's press conference as well? Surely it's done. For what it's worth, in terms of Raya settling in, he said it's been a big change. It's been a great change, a great move. I've experienced a lot of new things, especially at a club as big as Arsenal. It's one of the best clubs in the world, so the challenge has been incredible, and I'm still adapting to the club and everything here. Pressure is what you put on your shoulders. If you believe in it yourself, you've got a big part to play. I don't try to think so much about it. I'm trying to enjoy the moment every single training session and every time I go on the pitch to help the team. I'm just focusing on that and not focusing so much on the pressure or what's going on outside the club. It's not that you have to be mentally stronger. It's just new challenges that I've never experienced. So just trying to adapt as quickly as possible to a title race. Are we in a title race? I don't look at the league table. I don't know. I'm playing in the Champions League for the first time. I've dealt very well with all of that stuff. So I'm really happy with how it's going, and hopefully it can go better. And then he said, it's a big thing when another goalie comes to a club. Aaron had a magnificent season last year, PFA nomination. So I'm just here to help the team to win games when the gaffer puts me in. My relationship with Aaron is really good. We're teammates, and we try to make each other better in every single session. We don't try to hear what the outside world is saying, just focus on the team. I'm enjoying every time I go out there playing football and doing what I love, especially enjoying every single training session as well. It's incredible to be part of this club, and hopefully we can fight for the title. A club of this level, you cannot drop at any point. We want to fight and try to win as many titles as we can. So it's very demanding for me. Experiencing new things is very demanding. The teams in the top 6 and top 10 are behind us, so we have to keep on our toes and try to win every single match. On West Ham, and I remember when I mentioned counter-attacks, people say I'm being a fake coach, but he said it here. West Ham are a great team that can hurt you in many ways, especially on fast counter-attacks. I hope everyone in that team understands that, because we've seen it before. So we have to be very wary of their strengths. We just have to play our game and focus more on ourselves and what we can do to win the game. We played them in the cup as well, so we know what to expect. In this league, every game is tough. Anyone can beat anyone, so it's going to be a tough match as every game in the Premier League. He then said it's a very, very close dressing room, so everyone gets along with everyone. Obviously, you spend more time with the goalkeeper union, so it's a mix of everything. But I've bonded really well with everyone and the outfield players playing against them, like Jorginho and a few others. Everyone has been very welcoming. The culture is magnificent. It's like a big, big family. Even though the club is that big, you don't know how big the club is until you get inside it. But I was very impressed by how the club and everything is run like a big family, especially the staff and the fans. Everybody has a big part to play. No matter if you're a player, staff, or groundsman, it's a family club. Big up yourself, Raya, and hopefully you can convince us Arsenal fans you're the guy. No clue on quite why there isn't. Right, Lokonga assist. Right, Lokonga's playing football again. Yeah. I Luton, you need to get him permanently, man. You need to. He's the best thing since sliced bread. Next year, Toure. Let's see if anything's come out in the last hour regarding this football club. We've seen that. I mean, Arteta said we're very light on numbers. Let's see if he said anything else there. He's defending Martinelli. This is why I wish I could still see his comments. He said Partey is still out. Boy, he says Partey is still absent from training despite rumours he's returned. Maybe the gaffer, Arteta has been one to play a bit of games, but I have to assume the gaffer said we're not going to have those two, Partey and Tomiyasu. Then we have the suspension of Havertz, so I think we're going to have 5 out, but we have a lot of other players willing to play. They haven't trained yet, but hopefully they can evolve in the right way. Oh, Lord. He then said there's some talks between the clubs and federations. We haven't decided when is best. So that's obviously in relation to AFCON and the Asia Cup. He's defended Martinelli, and he said It's difficult to explain. Sometimes it's decision making. Sometimes it's hitting the post or missing a chance. He's really trying. He's a massive threat for us. Everything that he generates with and without the ball, the pressure he puts on the back line, he's a key player for us, and things will happen for him again. Big him up, man. It's still Martinelli. Confidence is not a problem for Martinelli. Sometimes he needs to put the break down or lift his head up and make that decision for everyone. I think there you have it. I think we've been saying that Martinelli needs to get your head up. That's the most important thing to do, finding that composure and timing inside the box. But the lack of confidence is not going to be an issue for him. Fair enough, Gaffer. I don't think there's anything else there. So, yeah, we've gone over them kind of things there. Big up you lot, man. It's always a vibes being here with you lot. So, yeah, what else he said? I wonder if there's a way around FFP, buy players that we require, but structuring the deal like a Pepe transfer, paying it over 3 years and spreading the transfer relevant to our income. You bang on the money, Graham. There probably is. To be fair, it doesn't need to be amazing. 5 or 10 goals a season would be enough to supplement Saka and Martinelli. I hear that, but I do think Arsenal need a man that's going to get 20 odd, man, because once you start telling me 10 and 15, that tells me someone's fairly volatile. If I'm honest. Yeah, need a Saliba backup in case, surprise how light we are there. And again, what makes me more concerned is obviously when players are injured, you know, you're running the risk of other players getting injured because they're now having to play. Like, I can't remember the game. It might have been PSV. Obviously, in hindsight, we needed them man there, but it was quote unquote a dead rubber Champions League game. You don't really want to see Gabriel, Saliba, obviously Benjamin White can't really, you know, get a day off as well. I want us to stay away from Pedro Neto, great footballer, but too injury prone. As an Arsenal fan, I'm disappointed we didn't go for Kudus and Diaby. Would have been perfect competition for Saka, bro. Madison, nothing to completely irrelevant for what you're saying, but would have loved Madison at the club. Would have loved Kudus. I wonder what was the reason, because respectfully to West Ham, you know, it seemed like Kudus' agent was doing all he could to angle for quote unquote the bigger clubs. It didn't happen. I wonder what the other variables around it. Was it something to do with Kudus? Is it nothing to do with Kudus and more his advisors? Who knows? But all these teams lost is West Ham's game, man. De Ligt wasn't sure of him. Man said, Raya got them T-Rex arms. I'm still Team Ramsdale. I'm not team either. I'm team whoever plays for Arsenal. I like Ramsdale. I like Raya. I think you both got qualities. I think at this moment in time, don't really see who's the evident number one. Obviously, you just need to look at the data and who is playing, which is David Raya. But yeah, man, want to be a bit more impressed with David Raya's goalkeeping versus how impressed I am when you go to the Emirates or watch online his passing ability and that. Is part even staying at Arsenal heard we're shifting him out? I think he's gone in the summer, if I'm honest. What he's trying to say is sell me in the winter. Zinchenko against Kudus looking peak tomorrow for us. He's going to have to man up, put on his big boy shorts and keep it moving. Let's keep it going, Gooners. This is our Premier League title. It won't slip. I don't know. I didn't even know Arsenal was in a title challenge. I don't look at the league table. Honestly, the last time I looked at the league table was July, where Arsenal were top. But if we work really hard, win the most games, then maybe come May, when 38 games have been played, we might have a season to remember, man. And in many ways, you know, winning the Premier League could be simply just seeing your manager and your players improve game in, game out. Bambi cooking, copping, man. Next Yaya Toure comment from Company was already going to set him up for failure. It was, bro. Company set black managers back about 50 years with that shout, if I'm honest. He was hustling, man. He defo pocketed that. We now play twice before Liverpool are in action. If we can get 6 points, then we can put pressure on them. I hear it. Big up yourselves, man, in the chat. I hope Arteta just plays Kyrgios at left back and brings Partey in midfield so that Rice can play centre mid. Please, Kudus and Paqueta are cooking. But hey, I don't know, because rumours are saying Partey could be there. I mean, Arteta's done it before. He's like, I don't know if the players will be involved. Then there's a spanner in the works. I don't know. So to me, as an ignorant fan, I assume Partey is not there. I think if we didn't have Vieira, we would have probably pursued Maddison. Maddison is another Partey, always injured. Maddison picks up injuries like that. Harsh, man. And I mean, he don't play for Arsenal, so who gives a flying monkeys about him now, really? And to be honest, they're missing Romero now. That them lot down the road. I won't say their name. Damn. But to be fair though, man, I'm going back to 2018 and that. But let me see the last 2 years. To be fair, he has picked it. You know what? VAR, you're right still. But he's still a quality player, man. He's still a quality player. But you're all right about that. Havertz out, time to call prison bait, teabag, you're up. Vieira's not a thing because Vieira's out as well. Like, when is even that brother back as well? Like, injuries. And I always say, I personally think internally at Arsenal, we need to be a bit more pessimistically optimistic. And what I mean by that is hope everybody stays fit. But We need more players, man. We know there's an Arsenal tax where it comes to injury, so we need more players. As simple as that, man. What happened to Romero? I think he's got a hamstring knock. He's out for 4 or 5 weeks, Romano tweeted. I only know that because just before I came online, Romano mentioned that. We need 9 more likes until we've hit 100. If you've hit the like button, appreciative of such. Let me have a butchers and see if there's anything else. I don't think there is, so there's no point me boring you lot any longer, folks. Is there anything? Nah, so yeah, we've gone over what Arteta has said at this point in relation to injuries. We've covered the athletics in transfer rumors of Arsenal and everything else. Obviously, the discussion with you lot has been amazing, man. It's always fantastic being here with you lot. Obviously, season's greetings and Happy New Year in advance as well. Last question or last comment. I need a big second half of the season from Vieira. I see glimpses, but I need him to mature as a player. I hear it because it feels like we're going around in circles. He's on the peripheral, then he gets his chances either off the bench or in the occasional start. Then he hits a real good run of form. Then there's that there tends to come a big game like with Spurs. He doesn't grab his opportunities, and then you're back to square one. Really, I like him. I think you're part of the squad, but until I see more, this feels like it's always going to get, because reality is now, you say you like to play as an 8 or a 10. The captain Odegaard plays in the 10. Havertz is finding form now and plays in that left 8. That right midfield pocket is obviously Declan Rice's. You do and can play as a wide playmaker, even though I'm not for it, but Saka's playing 9 times out of 10. So he needs to not even buck up his ideas, but he needs to pull up his pants and put down the marker really and truly, or you're not going to get into the Portuguese team, because, I'm sure Fabio Vieira has dreams of representing his country. I don't even know if he has a Portuguese cap, but it's a Euros. If you get into the team, well, with Arsenal, you never know what could happen. We need players, man, but I don't think a striker is going to be a priority in January. I hope to be wrong. I hope there's a way and a will to do it, but I honestly don't know. But yeah, on that note, people, you lot's comments, your engagement, big up the silent listeners, big up everyone watching it on the replay. It's a pleasure to be here with you lot. And yeah, man, if you've just found out about the guy, make sure you're subscribing and following the socials. If you've been part of the furniture this year, as we approach the end of the year, without you lot, it couldn't be done, man. But next year, the journey to 70k subscribers is alive and kicking. And to do that, I need you lot's help. So you have to hit the like button. You have to subscribe. You have to engage and whatnot. Trust the process, people. But yeah, on that note, bless up you lot. Again, as I said, we will be back obviously later today. Hopefully, Crystal Palace can get something done against Chelsea, who Chelsea got slapped in their last game. It'd be absolutely lovely. And then obviously tomorrow, we're watching Arsenal West Ham, where we hope we can win. Let's end the year strong, man. Forgive me if I'm wrong. We're playing tomorrow against West Ham. I want to say we got Fulham. I want to say we got Fulham on Sunday. Let me make sure that's not cap. Yeah, we got Fulham on Sunday. I know this stuff for you. Fulham's going to be very difficult, man. So, yeah, man, the games are on. And then January's not any easier, really and truly. So, yeah, man, we're going to have to pull our pants up. But this is what we wanted. I'm not going to lie. This is rich teams' problems. And what I mean by rich is when you're doing the right things. These are privileged problems, I should say. When we was 8th and manager sack shouts and the players are toxic in the dressing room and stuff, you can never avoid these things in football, but we don't have that. We wanted to be in quote unquote title races and big games and all of this. Is pressures are privilege. This is where we are now. I did enjoy my Christmas, man, and I appreciate that, man. A lot of food, a lot of drinking, a lot of other stuff, man. So yeah, big up you lot, man. Without you lot, it's dead, innit? So yeah, man, you lot smash the like button, subscribe, check out the other videos. I'll see you lot in the piece. We have spent a long time speaking about Zinchenko, and all the talk about his defensive problems, I haven't really seen this from him in the final third.
There's always just that active when defenders are being given
Tongue time!